Have you ever been at home alone and sensed that something was off? Here's a story that will keep your detective mind engaged, but you'll probably never guess the ending unless you pay attention to the small details in the build-up to the conclusion that give it away. So make sure you stay till the end and see if your theory holds up. Let me take your mind on a journey to 90s Italy, when Italy hosted the FIFA World Cup. If you're listening to this podcast on Spotify, don't forget to follow Mr Novella on Spotify, or subscribe on YouTube, leave a like, and click the bell button to get notified as soon as a new novella gets released. And now, with that said, let's dive into the story. And for this story, I'll let our lovely Bella take it from here. Bella, darling, over to you.
Thank you, Sergio. No pressure. All right, grab your favorite snack and get cozy, because I'm about to spill the tea on a mind-bending adventure that had me questioning everything. Picture this: a time when my sanity decided to take a little vacation. So, buckle up, my fearless friends, because things are about to get real, a bit spooky, and maybe even a tad unnerving. Ready for a story where reality and nightmare do the tango? Let's dive in. The plane descended over the sun-drenched Sicilian coast, and the roar of the engines quieted as we touched down. My heart raced faster than the wheels screeching on the runway. It had been ages since I left the boot-shaped homeland for the skyscrapers of New York City, and this reunion was stirring emotions I didn't know I had. As the seatbelt sign blinked off, I stood, shaking out the stiffness from the long flight. The plane, like a tin can, had that weird recycled air smell, and I couldn't wait to be free of it. I glanced at the tiny cup on my tray table, some excuse for coffee, and chuckled. A far cry from the fancy latte joints back in Brooklyn. Gathering my belongings, I made my way through the narrow aisle, my worn-out sneakers barely making a sound on the carpeted floor. The terminal was buzzing with life, animated conversations in rapid Italian, people reuniting with kisses and hugs, and here I was, an Italian-American girl caught between two worlds. And there they were, my brothers Giuseppe and Marco, looking like characters straight out of a mafia movie, minus the drama. Their grins could light up a room, and they engulfed me in bear hugs, almost knocking the wind out of me. Giuseppe, the older one with a beard that could give Hemingway a run for his money, chuckled. "Look at you, all grown up and cityfied." I shot back. Yeah, well, someone had to bring a little New York glamour to this place. The car ride through the Sicilian countryside was a feast for the eyes. Vineyards stretched for miles, and the olive trees looked like they had stories to tell. My face was practically glued to the window, taking in the scenery like it was the first time I'd seen real green in years. I couldn't resist leaning over to Marco, who was driving, and giving him a nudge. "This beats the subway any day." He laughed. "No rats, I promise." Arriving at Mama and Papa's place felt like a homecoming I didn't know I needed. The smell of Mama's pasta sauce hit me before I even stepped inside. The stone house, draped in ivy, looked like something out of a postcard. The door swung open, and there they were. Mama, Papa, aunts, uncles, cousins, all wearing smiles that could melt the coldest heart. Mama engulfed me in her arms, her cheeks wet with tears. "You've gotten too skinny, mia bambina." Papa, his mustache twitching with a smile, kissed my forehead. "The city life, eh? We'll fatten you up in no time." The table was a mosaic of Sicilian delights: pasta, arancini, cannoli. Every dish seemed to be a declaration of love. We sat, the clinking of glasses and the murmur of Italian voices creating a symphony of joy. Uncle Antonio, a stout man with a thick mustache, raised his glass. To family, and to our girl coming back home. As the night deepened, the celebration spilled into the street. The neighbors joined in, and soon, it was a full-blown party. Accordion music filled the air, and laughter echoed off the narrow stone walls. Amidst it all, I found myself thinking, maybe New York wasn't the only city that never sleeps. The sheer warmth of the people, the love, and the chaotic beauty of it all made me question every decision that led me away from this place. As I stood there, surrounded by the lively chaos of Sicilian revelry, I couldn't help but feel a tinge of regret for ever thinking I could find this anywhere else. Little did I know, the real twists and turns of this homecoming were yet to unfold. 6 months into my Sicilian escapade, my brothers and I had transformed our house into a Pinterest-worthy haven. It was a mix of old-world charm and Swedish flat-pack modernity, a combo you didn't know you needed until you stepped inside. The walls practically shouted "thank you" every time we nailed something up. By day, I was the town's legal eagle, strutting around in heels that could do some serious damage if I needed them to. The town had embraced me like their legal superhero. Life was grand, except for one little glitch: the kitchen. The kitchen was pulling a Houdini on my groceries. The milk was doing vanishing acts. The fruits were on a mission to escape. And I swear, the veggies were conspiring against me. Was it just my imagination? Or was my house haunted by a food-loving ghost with a taste for groceries? Maybe it was the ghost of a disgruntled chef, pissed off that I dared cook spaghetti without his blessing. One day, I spilled my supernatural grocery woe to Mike, the office jester. He shot back. "Bella, sounds like you've got a ghost with a taste for groceries. Maybe it's the spirit of a food critic. Your fridge is the hottest spot in the afterlife." I rolled my eyes. "Right, Mike, because ghosts care about artisanal cheese." He grinned. "Change those locks, Bella. Old homeowners might be haunting your pantry. Imagine their Yelp review. Hauntingly good pasta, but the ghost needs to work on its stealth." Enter Benny, the local fixer-upper guru. This guy could probably build a spaceship with a toothpick and duct tape. Benny inspected every nook and cranny, tightened screws like he was preparing for a zombie apocalypse, and declared my house more secure than Fort Knox. I threw in a new lock, just for good measure. The house, with its fresh paint and assembly-required furniture, looked more impenetrable than a bank vault. I half expected the ghost to file a complaint about the security upgrade. Feeling like the proud owner of a ghost-free fortress, I embraced the locked doors mantra. But little did I know, behind the laughter and jokes, something sinister was stirring in the shadows. The house, with its quaint charm and Swedish sophistication, was about to become the stage for a fear-inducing performance that even Houdini wouldn't dare attempt. Locked doors or not, the ghostly grocery caper was about to take a dive into the eerie and the unknown. All right, so picture this. 2 weeks of serene bliss in my renovated haven, right? But then, like clockwork, on week 3, the symphony of silence got rudely interrupted. Strange sounds, creeping and crawling through the walls, like footsteps when there shouldn't be anyone around. My skin crawled, and my heart raced like a jackrabbit. Logic? It ran away faster than the milk from my fridge. I tried to tell myself, "Bella, it's just the house settling." But come on, these were footsteps, not some cute old house groans. Thinking I've got a tiny rodent-sized intruder, I got Benny to lend me Fluffy, the feline ninja, for a mouse hunt, set up traps like I was in a cat and mouse action movie. But guess what? Nada. Zilch. Fluffy was lounging around like she was on a vacation. I woke up the next day, traps untouched, and my paranoia level went from 0 to 100 real quick. That's when my mind took a wild turn. Ghosts. Yeah, you heard me. The whole Casper squad might have been having a party at my place. The sounds, the untouched traps, it all added up to one spooky conclusion. So, I did what any sane person would do. I hightailed it out of there. Went back to Mama and Papa's, and you bet Mama was all, "I told you so," about ghosts and spirits. Next thing I know, we've got Father Antonio doing a holy water blessing, and I'm hanging crosses like I'm preparing for a supernatural showdown. The house, now drenched in religious swag, should have felt safe, right? But nah, that chill wouldn't leave. It was like an icy finger tracing down my spine, whispering, "You're not alone." Locked doors, crosses, and holy water. They were about as effective as a chocolatey teapot against whatever unseen presence was making my house its new haunt. Anxiety. Oh, it was the main dish on my plate. Fear. That was the seasoning I didn't ask for. Every creak, every shuffle, every whisper of the wind made me jump. I was knee-deep in a mystery, and this one wasn't ending with a cheesy Scooby-Doo reveal. No, this was the real deal, and it was turning my safe haven into a haunted labyrinth of the unknown. All right, so there I was, caught in this twisted, ghostly guessing game. The crosses on the walls and the holy water might have kept Mama and her Ghostbusters satisfied. But not me. No way. I'm a lawyer. I deal in facts and evidence, not supernatural nonsense. So I did what any logical, level-headed person would do. I hatched a plan. First up, I arranged things in a very specific way in the kitchen. Took a photo of my fridge, documenting every item. So if anything went missing, I had the receipts. Literally. Then, my brothers, bless their overprotective souls, brought me a video camera. Hid those suckers in discreet spots all over the house, ready to capture whatever mischief was going on. Ghost or not, I was about to crack this case. I left the house, crashed at my brother Marco's place for the night. The next morning, bright and early, I swung by my haunted house. And guess what? Things were amiss. Milk vanished, fruits on the run. And that wasn't just my imagination playing tricks. I grabbed one of the cameras from the kitchen, plugged it into the nearest screen, and hit play. What I saw made my blood run cold. I didn't waste a second. Bolted back to Marco's car, yelled at him to drive straight to the police station. My haunted house wasn't haunted at all. It was infested with a real-life intruder, invading my space, stealing my groceries, and turning my haven into a den of shadows. No ghost, no paranormal mystery, just a good old-fashioned case of trespassing. The anxiety and fear that had gripped me were replaced by a fiery determination. Someone had violated my sanctuary, and I was ready to bring down the legal hammer. Locked doors couldn't keep them out, but the law sure could. The ghostly riddle had unraveled into a criminal puzzle, and I was about to lay down the law. So, picture this. The police, armed to the teeth, surrounded my sanctuary, ready to put an end to this twisted game. They tore down walls in the kitchen like it was a movie, and in the midst of the chaos, they found her. This ghostly figure, thin as a rail, covered in the dust of her makeshift hideout. They cuffed her, and as the dust settled, reality hit like a punch to the gut. She spilled the beans, confessed to living in the walls of my supposed safe space the whole damn time. My cozy house, abandoned before my grand entrance, had secret compartments and hidden spaces, perfect for a villain with sinister intentions. This chick had become a literal shadow, learning my every move, my quirks, my daily grind. While I was busting my butt at work, she was sneaking into my kitchen, swiping groceries like a phantom in the night. And when I was knocked out in dreamland, she'd crawl out of her hidey hole for a sneaky shower. Sick, right? But here's where it gets real messed up. They found a bag in her lair, ropes, sharp knives stolen from my very own kitchen, and a bunch of pills. The police connected the dots, and that chill running down my spine. It wasn't going away. This wasn't just a game of cat and mouse. It was a downright sinister plot, a plan to invade my life and, maybe, snuff it out. Those stolen items told a story of something way darker, a plan to make my house her own, even if it meant taking me out. The police dragged her away, leaving my once cozy house tainted with the residue of her twisted secrets. Locked doors, holy water, and crosses couldn't protect me from the real monsters lurking in the shadows. My sanctuary, my haven, had been the stage for a freaking horror show, and the legal hammer I wanted to unleash. It got a hell of a lot heavier. This wasn't just about justice anymore. It was about surviving a real-life nightmare. The ghostly riddle. Turned out it was a twisted reality, and the scars it left, more than skin deep. So, that old house of mine turned out to be a real-life horror movie. Sold that joint, bid it farewell, and moved closer to Mama and Papa. Found myself a shiny new house. None of those creepy surprises, thank you very much. Got a big dog to keep me company and add a touch of New York tough to the mix. He's like my personal bouncer, barking away any lingering spooks. This time, it's a clean slate. No weird vibes, just a fresh start. Walking into the new digs, it's like a sigh of relief. No more haunted corners, just the comforting smell of Mama's cooking nearby. I can almost hear Papa cracking one of his cheesy dad jokies, making the place feel like home. Locked doors, crosses, and holy water might not have cut it in the old joint, but now, it's just me, my furry sidekick, and a house free from ghostly antics. The nightmare's over, and this new chapter, it's got feel good written all over it. Time to enjoy the peace, surrounded by family and a dog that's probably more protective than any security system. Life's too short for haunted houses after all.
And that wraps up this novella. If you made it to the end, you're a real one. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed this Mr. Novella episode. Let me know your thoughts on Bella's story and her storytelling. Don't forget to subscribe to Mr. Novella on YouTube and follow Mr. Novella on Spotify. It helps out a lot with the algorithm gods, and if you're already subscribed and follow, thank you for sticking with me. You're a legend, mate. It lets me know I'm doing my job properly. Whether you're listening in the morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are, thank you for journeying through the darkness with us. Até seu último suspiro. Nunca desista de seus sonhos e que a paz esteja com você. Until next time, cheerio.